The valley is quiet, tension hanging thick in the air. Across the battlefield, the giant Goliath strides forward, massive, armored, and terrifying, his voice booming a challenge that shakes the very rocks. One by one, King Saul's soldiers freeze, fear rooting them to the spot. Then out of nowhere, a young shepherd boy named David steps forward. No armor, no sword, just a sling and a handful of stones. Can this unlikely hero really take on a towering giant? The answer might surprise you. Imagine facing a giant when everyone else runs. David's courage didn't come from brawn, but from belief, and a spark of something bigger than himself. David was just a shepherd boy, tending sheep on the hills of Bethlehem. When Goliath mocked Israel's army, every soldier trembled except David. Against all advice, he stepped forward, telling King Saul, "I will fight this giant." Nobody believed it. Even Saul scoffed, doubting the boy's chance. But David's calm conviction planted a seed of hope that was about to grow wildly. Think of courage like a tiny spark in a dark cave. David's weapon wasn't heavy armor or a sword, but a simple sling and 5 smooth stones. Like a violinist carrying one instrument into a giant orchestra, his quiet tools stood against overwhelming force. This shows how sometimes small focused actions can disrupt even the largest, most intimidating obstacles. When David struck Goliath with a single stone, the giant fell, not just defeated but humiliated. The kingdom realized that courage and faith can shake giants much bigger than you think. David's victory rewrote the rulebook. Real strength often flies under the radar, quiet yet unstoppable. Goliath's size was scary, sure, but he also represented something deeper: fear, intimidation, and the power of reputation. Let's unpack the real giant looming over Israel. Goliath stood nearly 9 feet tall, clad in bronze armor weighing over 125 pounds. His booming voice mocked Saul's army day after day, daring anyone brave enough to fight him. His presence was a nightmare etched into every soldier's mind. He wasn't just a man, he was terror made flesh, a walking mountain blocking victory. Fear is the invisible weapon Goliath wielded most effectively. Imagine walking into a ring where your opponent's shadow alone crushes your spirit before the fight even begins. Goliath's reputation spread like wildfire, paralyzing even the strongest warriors. It's a classic case of psychological warfare. A giant's power is magnified when his enemy doubts their own strength. But oddly, all that noise also made Goliath's threat predictable. David saw past the legend to the man beneath the armor, a man who could be outsmarted, outpaced. The lesson? Giant reputations can crumble when challenged with a fresh perspective and unshakable confidence. David's faith wasn't vague hope. It was laser focus born from his past. His shepherd's skills were the secret weapon hiding in plain sight. Years before the battlefield, David was out in the fields, hurling stones at lions and bears threatening his sheep. Each throw had to be perfect. A miss meant disaster. Those countless solitary hours sharpened his aim and steadied his nerves. So the sling was not a poor man's toy, it was a weapon polished through experience. Faith gave David a calm heartbeat amid chaos. Instead of trembling like the soldiers around him, David believed God was on his side. That belief turned sweat into steadiness and doubt into determination. Imagine holding a bowstring with hands that don't shake. That's what faith does under pressure. When the moment came, David aimed and swung his sling faster than any giant could react. It was focus, nothing else, that won the day. This reminds us that even when odds stack up like mountains, focused confidence can carve a path through the impossible. David's battle flipped the rules. What if giants aren't undefeatable? His strategy teaches us to rethink challenges disguised as threats. David didn't charge with sword or shield. Instead, he stayed nimble, dodging the giant's slow swings. Like a cat playing with a giant, he found the gaps. His sling stone hit exactly where armor was thin, the forehead, knocking Goliath down instantly. It's a classic David versus Goliath move. Don't fight a giant by being giant. This is a lesson in asymmetric strategy. Think of David as a chess player turning a queen's power against her own pieces by using unexpected moves. Giant problems often have tiny vulnerabilities. Finding and exploiting those is key to success in any battle, literal or metaphorical. When David's victory became real, the underdogs gained new hope. His approach cracked the myth that size and force always win. Instead, creativity, speed, and daring rewrote the story. We learned that turning your weaknesses into strengths can shift any seemingly lost cause into a winning one. David and Goliath isn't just about one battle. It's about every time you face a giant in your life. Let's unpack the timeless wisdom hidden in this ancient story. Through countless battles and trials, David grew not just as a fighter, but as a leader and symbol of hope. The story shows us that every challenge, no matter how scary, can carve out new strength and character if you face it head-on. Giants, in this sense, are less about enemies and more about opportunities for growth. Faith is portrayed not as passive wishing, but a powerful force that keeps you moving when fear wants to freeze you. David's unshakable belief showed that resilience isn't just endurance but a deep inner conviction, like a lighthouse cutting through a stormy night. The biggest surprise? Underdogs have the power to rewrite the rules and surprise the world. David's victory reminds us that no matter your size, background, or doubts, you have potential to smash expectations and change your story. Giants beware. Remember that quiet moment from the valley when David stepped out alone to face Goliath? That image holds power. It's not about muscle or weapons, but belief and boldness. The next giant you face may be a fear, a challenge, or something impossible. Try the David approach. Rely on your unique strengths, keep faith, focus ruthlessly, and take your shot. Sometimes the biggest wins come from smallest stones. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.